All right, everyone, I think we can go ahead and get started. Good morning and welcome to the public hearing for the 2025 OLCC Bottle Bill Rules Package. My name is Nicole Blase and I am the Rules Coordinator for the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. Today is September 23rd, 2025 at approximately 9:05 a.m. and this public hearing is being held virtually. Please be advised that today's hearing is being recorded. We kindly ask that you remain on mute unless providing testimony this morning. The purpose of a public hearing is to give interested persons a reasonable opportunity to submit data and/or personal comments prior to the adoption of permanent rulemaking. This morning's hearing is being held in accordance with Chapter 183 of the Oregon Revised Statutes, otherwise known as the Administrative Procedures Act, Division 1 of Chapter 845 of the Commission's Administrative Rules, and Division 1 of Chapter 137 of the Oregon Administrative Rules, otherwise known as the Model Rules of Administrative Procedure. During this morning's hearing, we will accept comments from anyone who wishes to submit them. If you are interested in providing testimony but have not yet signed up, you may raise your hand in Teams and I will call on you in order. Or if you are phoning in, please announce yourself when there is an opening. If you wish to submit written comments after today's hearing, as we are still in the public comment period for this rule package, you may do so provided that all submissions are received by 12 p.m. on September 30th, 2025. In accordance with OAR 137-001-0040, all public comments received on this matter, whether in the form of written document or oral testimony, will become a part of the permanent rulemaking record. Here is a summary of the proposed rule package. Senate Bill 992 directs the OLCC to develop rules for and to approve qualifying applications to provide alternative access redemption centers that provide bottle redemption access to individuals who return bottles on a daily or near daily basis. These redemption centers may not refuse to pay the refund value of less than 350 beverage containers by any one person during one day and provide hand counting of up to 50 beverage containers for one person in one day. Senate Bill 992 requires the OLCC to establish alternative access and low-impact convenience zones and adjust hours of operation of bottle redemption services in various zones. Senate Bill 992 allows wineries to limit container returns to the kind, brand, and size sold by the dealer. At this time, we have a few folks signed up to give testimony. Before you begin, please state your name and affiliation. We will keep the hearing open as long as we have requests to provide testimony. We will close the meeting 5 minutes after the last comment has been entered into the record. All right, I will begin to take testimony. The first person we have to present testimony today is Lynn Felton, and then followed by David Knowles. Lynn, go ahead.
Thank you. So, good morning. The Commission has not accounted for known costs of an alternative redemption center that accepts 350 cans daily per person for cash payment and a city of 500,000 plus in the rulemaking document. That there are costs to the public who live and do business near OBRC redemption centers in Portland has been well documented. Since the business model that creates these costs is not changing, just the management structure, the OLCC commissioner should include
Lynn, I believe you froze. You are frozen.
That there is drug use and other impacts to surrounding businesses and neighbors. Oregonian, October 2022. TMT development lawsuit for $300,000 against OBRC for the cost of hiring extra security guards due to the bottle redemption.
Lynn, you are frozen again. Okay, I'm going to pause Lynn's testimony, and I'm going to have David go ahead and testify, and then perhaps Lynn will have better reception when we circle back. David, are you prepared to offer your testimony? David, would you like to come off mute and offer your testimony?
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you.
Lynn, I do apologize. Most of your testimony was frozen and we did not hear it. So I'm going to have David provide testimony, and if you'd like to try again when he's finished, we can try that. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead, David.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to thank the commission staff and OLCC commission for providing the opportunity for testimony. It's a little unclear to me whether there's anybody on this call from the commission, but I am trusting that this message and the testimony are going to get passed along, and I will be submitting formal written comments by September 30th. So I am here on behalf of the Beaumont-Wilshire Neighborhood Association, specifically to talk about the situation at the Beaumont Market, which is located at 41st and Northeast Fremont. The market is a really treasured part of our community. They are a small market. They are not a convenience store. They provide vegetables and meats. It's a small format store. It's less than 5,000 square feet. But they have become completely overwhelmed by the obligation to redeem containers that are coming their way. And so our testimony is in the context of that specific market and the impacts that it's having on our neighborhood. Yes, it sells containers covered by the Oregon Bottle Bill, but it's really incidental to their overall business of providing goods and services to the neighborhood. So the market lies just outside the catchment areas for 2 redemption centers. And unlike larger grocery stores, it does not have a green bag program. It is obligated to provide immediate cash to the people who are there to redeem containers. And it has really been overwhelmed by the numbers of people who are doing this. And there really aren't any alternatives to this without a substantial investment for the small market and a green bag program. So let me give you a couple of facts that I think illustrate well the problem that the market is facing. So consider these statistics. In August 2023, the market sold 18,000 containers, rough numbers, and it had returned to them 24,000 containers. In August 2025, they sold 20,000 containers, and they were obligated to accept returns of 220,000 containers. That is an incredible increase and a huge impact on their business. And it illustrates the staff of the market are now in the position of processing containers and paying money to people that are not buying anything from the market. And as a consequence, there are now a large number of people redeeming containers, and the impacts on the neighborhood are what others have experienced in other similar situations. There's a lot of loitering from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the parking lot of people waiting to have their containers processed. The market is within 250 feet of Beaumont Middle School. And what our neighbors and business people have been observing is the kinds of activities that unfortunately are associated with people who are redeeming these containers: drug use, conflicts with people, trash. We can document all this, and we will as part of our formal written testimony. The open drug use and the drug paraphernalia occurring in such close proximity to adjacent residents and to the schools is really concerning to us. And it's having an impact both on individuals and on other businesses. So let me specifically comment on the proposed rules. One general comment is that the preface to the rules says that the OLCC doesn't believe there's going to be any particular significant impact on businesses. That's simply not true. The numbers that I just gave you illustrate that there is a very significant impact on the business of the Beaumont market from these proposed rules. And so we would, as a general matter, suggest that the preamble to the proposed rules needs to say something about the impact these rules are having on this specific business. It is not a neutral cost impact as the preamble currently is written. It is a very substantial impact, and I cited the number of containers, about 200,000 containers per month that is now being obligated to process, and that is a significant business impact on them. Secondly, we think the rules should recognize the disproportionate impacts that the current setup is creating for some businesses. So the fact that the market lies outside of the catchment area for redemption centers, that it doesn't have a green bag program, means that it is becoming the place where people come to return these containers. And while providing income to people of limited means who are using these container returns as a way of providing income to themselves, that may be an admirable public policy. It's no longer, however, part of the original goals of the bottle redemption system or the container redemption system. So Beaumont Market has become a place where it is basically providing money on behalf of the container return system, and it's getting all of the costs and none of the benefits of the program. And finally, we would propose that there should be an exemption for small businesses that fall into this category. And just as a suggestion, we think that there ought to be an exemption, and the exemption criteria would be, one, that it lies outside the catchment area of a redemption center, which, as I understand it under the proposed rules, is 3.5 miles. And secondly, that it sells less than 30,000 containers a month. We think that the market ought to be exempted from the obligation of providing redemptions under the program. I'll provide more details in the written testimony that we'll submit on September 30th or by September 30th, but this is a summary of our testimony and our position. Thanks for the opportunity to comment.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Lynn, we will circle back to you. For anyone who's joining, if you are having connectivity issues, it does help to turn off your camera. We just need the audio for today. So Lynn, if you'd like to try again. Thank you.
Sure, we'll give it another go, and I'll take your suggestion and turn off the camera and see if it'll work.
Thank you.
There we go. So sorry for some of the repeat here, but as I was saying earlier, the Commission has not accounted for known cost of an alternative redemption center that accepts 350 cans daily per person for cash payment in a city of 500,000 plus in the rulemaking document. That there are costs to the public who live and do business near OBRC redemption centers in Portland has been well documented. Since the business model that creates these costs is not changing, just the management structure, the OLCC commissioners should include these known public costs in the document. It is well documented that, it is well documented that a redemption center is part of a circular economy that brings added costs to the surrounding public. While the OBRC and the chosen nonprofits will not allow drug use on their property, it is well documented that there is drug use and other impacts to surrounding businesses and neighbors. Oregonian, October 2022, TMT development lawsuit for $300,000 against OBRC for the cost of hiring extra security guards due to the bottle redemption center at Delta Park. Suit was settled. OBRC is aware of the cost. The lease for this location has not been renewed. One can guess it is due to the cost that TMT development incurred due to the increased litter, drug use, and criminal activity at the site, and at least 2 companies reportedly leaving the strip mall due to the bottle drop. Oregonian, March 2024, 1.5 million suit filed against OBRC and the security company for a stabbing at adjacent property to the OBRC Gleason Redemption Center. In my opinion, most people do not like a side of stabbing and fentanyl smoke with their Happy Meals. Pretty reasonable to say there is a cost in lost business to the adjacent property. Oregonian, February 2024, first action Governor Kotek Emergency Fentanyl Crisis Team takes is to suspend the bottle returns at 2 downtown stores. The urgency of this action illustrates the known cause and effect and cost of operating a site where returns are paid out in cash. If the business model does not create these costs, why was this the first solution sought by this public-private task force addressing an emergency? Oregonian, May 2025. Reporter witnesses drug use at the end of Delta Park Redemption site and in the parking area. One man in line said he needed the cash to buy drugs since, quote, this is where the best prices in town are, end quote. KGW, February 2023. Neighbors next to Gleason Redemption Center report finding feces and needles in their yards. Flash forward to September 2025. Neighbors and police meet at Portland City Councilor Smith's office. Neighbors report feces, passed out people, extensive damage to buildings, clients telling them they like the business, they just don't feel safe coming to them, clients never return. These are all costs. Costs in lost business, costs in cleanup, cost in rebuilding. One business owner estimated his cost at $100,000. For the commissioners to ignore these known costs to the public either shows lack of transparency from stakeholders, lack of seeking out all stakeholders, or a disinterest in the news coverage of Portland redemption sites. There is also a cost to the local government, as noted in the May 2025 Oregonian article. Quote from the article, at both these bottle drops, quote, drug use and drug dealing tend to coalesce, a Portland spokesperson said. And officers, Portland police spokesperson said, and officers run missions to try to tamp down on it. Precious police hours spent, quote, tamping down, end quote, the circular economy of which the redemption centers are one stop along the way. One look at the crash data for 122nd and Gleason shows the challenge PBOT has to deal with. December 2024, man hit by car, ruled a suicide. August 2025, woman struck at 122nd and Gleason. If you look at the data, there are several more. A quick look at the deadly data along 122nd since the OBRC bottle drop opening shows the local governments do incur a cost in police time and traffic safety management. It is reasonable that the proposed alternative site run by a nonprofit and mobile sites proposed in residential areas can anticipate similar costs as they will be accepting 350 cans per person per day, 50 hand counted, and will be handing out cash, as is the case with the operating redemption sites. It is the same business model, except with a different management structure. The business model has costs that will not be mitigated by the management structure. These costs have been well documented repeatedly. As a public agency that has been granted authority to administer and enforce the bottle bill, the agency that seeks to provide excellent service to the public and to stakeholders throughout implementation, that service to the public can start by including the documented cost of redemption centers, alternative or not, in Portland in this rulemaking. Thank you for the opportunity to give testimony.
Thank you, Lynn. That was much clearer and we heard everything. So thank you for joining and sharing. Is there anybody else that would like to provide testimony at this hearing today? Please raise your hand in Teams, or if you're calling in, you may speak up now. All right, I will hold the hearing open for another 5 to 10 minutes or so to give anybody else a chance to call in and testify. And if I do not hear anybody or receive any wishes to testify, I will close the hearing. So I'm going to just remain on mute. And if anybody would like to speak up and provide testimony for the record, please do so. Thank you. Once again, this is the public hearing for the OLCC's 2025 bottle bill rules package. Is there anybody on the call that would like to provide testimony for the record today? All right, I will keep the hearing open until approximately 9:30. And if we have no further requests to provide testimony, I will conclude the hearing. Thank you. This is the public hearing for the OLCC 2025 Bottle Bill Rules Package. Final call for anybody who would like to provide testimony for the record today. All right, the time is now approximately 9:30 a.m. At this time, there have been no further requests to submit comment or testimony, so we are going to conclude the hearing. Please remember that written comments must be received no later than September 30th by 12 p.m. to be considered during the rulemaking process. The audio of this hearing and any written comments received will be posted on our website at the conclusion of the public comment period. Thank you for your interest and participation, and have a great rest of your day.